Listen carefully. Life throws problems at all of us, big, small, expected, unexpected. Most people spend their lives running from these problems, blaming others, or wishing life was easier. But the truth is, 93% of the problems you face don't actually come from the world, they come from your mind. How you think, how you react, how you let things control you. That's where Stoicism comes in. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy, but its lessons are more powerful today than ever. It's not about being emotionless or cold. It's about training your mind so you can face life with calm, strength, and clarity. Here are 7 Stoic lessons that can rebuild your mind and solve almost all your problems. One of the most powerful lessons Stoicism teaches us is to focus only on what we can control. In life, so much of our stress, frustration, and anxiety comes from trying to control things that are beyond our reach. We worry about other people's opinions, the economy, the weather, traffic, or even random events that happen around us. The more we try to control these things, the more frustrated and powerless we feel. But the truth is, none of these things are truly under our control. The only things we can control are our own thoughts, our actions, and the decisions we make. Everything else is outside of our hands. Learning to see this clearly is like lifting a huge weight off your mind. When you stop wasting energy on what you cannot control, you suddenly have more mental space, more clarity, and more energy to focus on what actually matters. Think about it. How many times have you felt angry or stressed because someone else acted unfairly? How many times have you lost sleep, worrying about a decision that was out of your control? Every time, we focus on things we cannot control. We give our power away. We hand our peace of mind to external circumstances, and the result is frustration, regret, and often unnecessary conflict. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Instead of giving your energy to what you cannot change, turn it inward. Ask yourself what is actually under my control right now. Your thoughts, your reactions, your choices, and your effort. These are the things you can shape. These are the things that will truly make a difference in your life. When you focus on what you can control, you start to notice a shift in your life. Problems that once seemed overwhelming no longer have the same power over you. You stop blaming others, stop complaining about circumstances, and start taking responsibility for yourself. Responsibility is not a burden, it is freedom. When you take responsibility for your own mind, your own choices, and your own reactions, you realize that no one else has the power to make you unhappy unless you allow it. This is a huge step toward inner peace and clarity. It's not always easy to focus on what you can control. Life constantly tempts us to fix the unfixable. Social media shows us how other people are living, and we compare ourselves. Work problems arise that are outside our control, and relationships bring conflicts that are not ours to solve alone. But the moment you remind yourself to let go of these things, your mind becomes sharper, calmer, and more effective. Your energy is no longer scattered on impossible battles. Instead, it is concentrated on actions that produce real results, actions that you can actually influence. A practical way to start is by noticing your thoughts. Whenever you feel frustrated or anxious, pause and ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is no, release it. If the answer is yes, take focused action. This simple practice, repeated every day, gradually rewires your mind. You start to see the world more clearly. You stop reacting to every small irritation, and you start responding only to what truly matters. Your life becomes less chaotic, and you start experiencing a sense of calm that comes from knowing your effort is always meaningful. Focusing on what you can control also changes how you interact with others. You stop trying to force people to behave differently. You stop worrying about their judgments or criticisms. You stop getting angry over things that are outside your influence. Instead, you focus on your own behavior, your integrity, your kindness, your effort. This doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you act wisely, intentionally, and without unnecessary emotional turmoil. The wisdom of focusing on what you can control is simple, but it is life-changing. It transforms fear into courage, stress into calm, and confusion into clarity. When you master this principle, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the master of your mind. Every decision, every action, and every moment becomes an opportunity to strengthen yourself, to grow, and to live with purpose. One of the most important lessons from Stoicism is learning to accept reality exactly as it is, without fighting against it. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we plan, things rarely go exactly as we want. People will disappoint us, plans will fail, and situations will arise that seem unfair or unjust. Most of our suffering doesn't come from the events themselves, but from the way we resist them. We fight reality, complain about circumstances, and wish the world would bend to our desires. The Stoics teach that this resistance is the true source of suffering. When we accept reality as it is, our mind becomes calm, clear, and free. Accepting reality does not mean you approve of everything or give up on improving your life. It means seeing things clearly, without adding unnecessary emotional weight. Think about it. How often do you get upset over things you cannot change? Maybe someone criticized you unfairly, or a project at work didn't go as planned. Instead of seeing the situation for what it is, we add layers of frustration, anger, and disappointment. This reaction multiplies the problem in our minds. Stoicism teaches us to step back and ask, is this situation within my control? If it is not, the only wise choice is to accept it, to acknowledge it, and to move forward without wasting energy resisting what already exists. Accepting reality allows you to focus on what you can change, instead of being trapped in regret or resentment. Acceptance also changes the way you face challenges. Life will always have obstacles, whether small or large, expected or sudden. The difference between someone who suffers endlessly and someone who remains calm is their ability to accept reality. When you accept things as they are, you stop wasting energy fighting an unchangeable truth. You stop complaining about what cannot be fixed and start using your energy to act wisely. Acceptance is the foundation of resilience. It allows you to face difficulties with strength, without panic or despair. Another important aspect of accepting reality is understanding that people are not always going to act the way you want them to. Friends, family, colleagues, and even strangers will sometimes hurt, frustrate, or disappoint you. You cannot control their choices, only your response. By accepting reality, you stop being a victim of other people's behavior. You stop letting external events dictate your mood and your peace of mind. Instead, you maintain your clarity, respond with wisdom, and choose actions that align with your values. Acceptance also teaches patience. Life rarely unfolds according to our timeline. We want quick results, immediate recognition, or instant solutions. When we resist the pace of reality, we create stress and disappointment. Accepting reality as it is allows you to work steadily, calmly, and intentionally. You focus on effort rather than outcome, knowing that some things are simply beyond your control. You understand that the universe has its own timing, and your role is to act wisely and consistently within it. Practically, you can start practicing acceptance by noticing your reactions. When something doesn't go your way, pause and observe your feelings. Ask yourself, am I resisting reality? Can I change this situation? If the answer is no, let go of the struggle. If the answer is yes, act wisely. By repeatedly practicing this, your mind gradually becomes less reactive, less emotional, and more focused on meaningful action. You start to see life clearly, without unnecessary suffering created by your resistance. Accepting reality also enhances your relationships. When you stop trying to control or change others, you stop unnecessary conflicts. You stop forcing people to meet your expectations. You become more compassionate, understanding that everyone has their own path, challenges, and limitations. This mindset reduces stress, improves communication, and allows for deeper, healthier connections. The power of accepting reality is simple but profound. It frees your mind from unnecessary suffering, strengthens your resilience, and allows you to focus on what truly matters. You stop wasting energy on frustration, anger, or regret, and you start using it to grow, improve, and act wisely in the present moment. One of the most powerful lessons in Stoicism is learning to view challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to grow. Life is full of difficulties, some small, some enormous, and it is natural to feel frustrated, scared, or overwhelmed when they arise. But the Stoics teach us that these challenges are not punishments or setbacks. They are exercises for the mind and character. Every problem you face is a chance to strengthen yourself, to build resilience, and to become better than you were before. When you shift your perspective from seeing challenges as threats to seeing them as opportunities, your mindset transforms. Instead of avoiding difficulties, you start seeking ways to learn from them, adapt, and improve. Think about it. How often do people give up when life gets hard? They complain about unfair circumstances, blame others, or feel powerless in the face of adversity. But the Stoics remind us that the difficulty itself is neutral. What matters is how we respond. A challenge only becomes suffering when we resist it, complain about it, or wish it were different. When we embrace it, analyze it, and use it as a tool for growth, we become stronger, wiser, and more capable. In this way, challenges are not enemies, they are teachers. Every challenge teaches a lesson if we are willing to see it. When faced with failure, we learn humility and patience. When confronted with criticism, we learn self-reflection and the ability to separate truth from opinion. When obstacles seem impossible, we develop creativity, perseverance, and determination. Life constantly presents opportunities to refine our character, sharpen our mind, and practice virtues like courage, discipline, and wisdom. The more challenges we face with the right mindset, the more resilient we become. The Stoics also teach that challenges are a way to test our inner strength. When everything goes smoothly, it is easy to remain calm, patient, and disciplined. But it is in difficulty that true character is revealed. A difficult situation forces us to confront fear, frustration, and doubt. It demands that we make conscious choices instead of reacting impulsively. Every time we navigate a challenge with clarity and courage, we strengthen our mind, just like a muscle growing stronger under stress. Viewing challenges as opportunities also changes the way we approach life daily. Instead of avoiding uncomfortable tasks or situations, we start to welcome them as chances to grow. Small inconveniences, disagreements, or setbacks are not annoyances. They are opportunities to practice patience, tolerance, and problem solving. This mindset reduces fear and stress because we no longer see life as something to avoid or escape. Instead, we see life as a series of exercises designed to make us stronger, wiser, and more capable. It is important to understand that viewing challenges as opportunities does not mean ignoring difficulty or pretending everything is easy. Challenges are real, and they can be painful. Stoicism does not promise a life without hardship. What it offers is a way to face those hardships with strength, perspective, and purpose. By accepting that challenges are inevitable and seeing them as tools for growth, we take control of our response and stop being victims of circumstance. One practical way to apply this principle is to reframe problems when they arise. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? What skill or mindset can I develop through this challenge? This simple shift in perspective transforms stress into action, fear into opportunity, and frustration into learning. Over time, your mind becomes trained to see difficulty not as a threat, but as a natural part of growth, something that shapes you into a stronger, wiser, and more capable person. Challenges also teach gratitude and appreciation for ease and comfort. When you experience hardship and overcome it, ordinary moments of life become precious. You start to value calm, health, relationships, and opportunity in ways that only struggle can teach. Life, in this sense, becomes richer, more meaningful, and full of lessons waiting to be discovered. One of the most important lessons in Stoicism is learning to keep your emotions under control. Life is full of situations that can trigger anger, fear, sadness, or frustration. It is natural to feel these emotions, but what separates a calm and strong mind from a reactive one is how you respond to these feelings. Most people allow their emotions to dictate their actions, and this is what creates unnecessary suffering, conflict, and regret. Stoicism teaches that while you cannot always control what happens to you, you can control how you respond. By training your mind to manage emotions, you take back your power and create a sense of inner calm that is not dependent on outside events. Think about it. How many arguments or mistakes have happened because someone reacted impulsively in anger or fear? How often have you regretted saying something harsh, doing something rash, or panicking in a situation? These moments are not caused by external events. They are caused by uncontrolled emotional reactions. Stoicism shows us that emotions themselves are not the problem. The problem is letting them control our thoughts and actions. By observing your emotions without immediately reacting, You create a space between stimulus and response. This space is where wisdom lives. It is where you can choose the best action, rather than simply reacting to the moment. Keeping emotions under control does not mean suppressing them or pretending they do not exist. It means acknowledging them, understanding their cause, and then deciding how to respond. For example, if someone insults you, your first reaction might be anger. But if you pause and recognize that their words reflect their own mindset and not your value, you can respond calmly and wisely instead of reacting impulsively. This is how Stoics separate themselves from destructive emotional patterns. They observe, reflect, and then act with intention rather than letting raw emotion dictate their behavior. Another reason controlling emotions is powerful is that it protects your mind from being hijacked by stress and worry. Fear and anxiety often come from imagining worst-case scenarios or focusing on things outside your control. Anger and frustration come from unmet expectations or resistance to reality. By learning to keep these emotions in check, you stop wasting energy on unproductive thoughts. Your mind becomes sharper, more focused, and capable of handling challenges with clarity. Emotional control allows you to stay grounded, even in the most difficult circumstances. And this is what separates ordinary thinking from extraordinary resilience. Practicing emotional control also improves relationships. People are naturally drawn to calm, composed, and rational individuals. When you stop reacting impulsively, you communicate more clearly, listen better, and resolve conflicts more effectively. Emotional mastery allows you to set boundaries without aggression, express yourself without hostility, and respond to criticism without defensiveness. By keeping your emotions in check, you also model behavior that encourages others to remain calm and rational, creating a more peaceful and productive environment around you. A practical way to start controlling emotions is to become aware of them in the moment. Whenever you feel anger, fear, or frustration rising, pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself why you feel this way, whether this emotion is serving you, and what the wisest response is. Journaling, meditation, or reflection can also help you understand your emotional triggers and patterns. Over time, you train your mind to respond rather than react, and you develop an inner calm that is unshaken by external events. Mastering your emotions also builds long-term strength. Life will continue to test you, and challenges will arise that push you toward fear, anger, or despair. The difference between those who suffer endlessly and those who navigate life with ease is their ability to control their emotions. A calm mind can think clearly, make rational decisions, and act intentionally even in chaos. This is the core of Stoic resilience. One of the most transformative lessons of Stoicism is learning to practice gratitude every single day. Life can be challenging, and it is easy to focus on what is missing, what went wrong, or what others have that we do not. This habit of comparing ourselves to others and dwelling on shortcomings creates stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Stoicism teaches that the mind has incredible power, and by shifting our focus toward gratitude, we can transform our perception of life. Gratitude is not just a polite habit, it is a powerful tool that changes how we think, how we feel, and how we act. When we notice and appreciate the good in our lives, our mind becomes calmer, our perspective clearer, and our ability to handle difficulties stronger. Think about it. How often do we take for granted the simple things? Our health, our family, a roof over our heads, clean water, or even the ability to see a sunrise. Many people spend their lives chasing what they lack while ignoring what they already have. Gratitude flips this perspective. By focusing on what we have instead of what we do not, we cultivate a sense of abundance rather than scarcity. We stop feeling deprived, frustrated, or resentful, and we start feeling content, grounded, and energized. Gratitude is a mindset that rewires the brain, making it easier to see opportunities instead of obstacles, to notice blessings instead of problems, and to remain calm in difficult situations. Gratitude also strengthens resilience. When challenges arise, a mind trained in gratitude is less likely to be overwhelmed by negativity. Instead of seeing hardship as purely bad, we notice what we still have, what we can learn, and how we can grow from the experience. Gratitude allows us to acknowledge pain without letting it dominate our thoughts or define our identity. It creates a buffer against stress, fear, and despair, making us stronger in the face of life's inevitable difficulties. Another reason practicing gratitude is so powerful is that it improves relationships. When we appreciate the people around us, family, friends, colleagues, or mentors, we naturally treat them with more kindness, patience, and respect. Expressing gratitude fosters trust, connection, and cooperation. People respond positively when they feel valued, and our relationships become stronger and more supportive. Gratitude does not only benefit our own mind, it positively influences the entire environment around us. Practicing gratitude can be simple and practical. Start by noticing 3 things every day that you are thankful for, no matter how small. It could be as simple as having a warm bed, a meal, or a kind word from a friend. You can write them down in a journal, reflect on them in the morning, or say them aloud. Over time, this practice shifts your mental focus from scarcity to abundance. You become less attached to outcomes, less frustrated by setbacks, and more at peace with life as it is. Gratitude also changes the way we pursue goals. When we are grateful for what we have, our motivation becomes healthier. We are no longer chasing validation, possessions, or approval out of insecurity. Instead, we pursue goals from a place of strength, clarity, and purpose. Gratitude creates a mindset where ambition is balanced with contentment, desire is balanced with appreciation, and effort is balanced with acceptance. Finally, gratitude reminds us of the impermanence of life. Everything we have, health, wealth, relationships, comfort, is temporary. By appreciating it while we have it, we cultivate mindfulness and presence. We enjoy life fully, rather than taking it for granted, and we become more resilient because we are prepared to face loss with understanding rather than despair. Gratitude, in essence, is a daily practice that strengthens the mind, nurtures the heart, and transforms the way we experience every moment. One of the most powerful lessons in Stoicism is learning to live according to your values and purpose. Many people drift through life without a clear sense of direction, reacting to circumstances, following the expectations of others, or chasing goals that don't truly matter to them. This lack of purpose often creates confusion, stress, and a sense of emptiness. Stoicism teaches that a meaningful life comes not from external success or approval, but from aligning your actions with your principles and living with intention. When you know your values and purpose, every decision becomes easier, every challenge becomes manageable, and your mind becomes calm and focused. Think about it. How often do people act against their own values without realizing it? They stay in toxic relationships, work in jobs that drain them, or make choices that compromise their integrity. Over time, this creates internal conflict, guilt, and regret. Living according to your values prevents this. Your values act as a compass, guiding your actions, decisions, and reactions. When you are guided by your principles, external circumstances no longer dictate your happiness or peace of mind. You become steady, resilient, and confident because you know that your actions reflect who you truly are. Purpose is closely connected to values. Purpose gives direction to your life. It answers the question, why am I here? What is the meaning of my actions? When you live with purpose, you stop drifting aimlessly or reacting to every challenge without clarity. Instead, you focus on actions that contribute to your goals, align with your principles, and make a meaningful impact. Purpose is not about fame, money, or recognition. It is about living in a way that fulfills your inner potential and brings value to yourself and others. When your actions align with your purpose, life becomes simpler, more focused, and more fulfilling. Living according to values and purpose also strengthens your resilience. Life is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable. When faced with adversity, a person without purpose may feel lost, overwhelmed, or hopeless. But someone guided by clear principles and purpose knows how to respond. They evaluate the situation through the lens of their values, make choices that align with what matters most, and act with clarity and courage. This gives a sense of control and confidence, even when the world feels chaotic. Another important aspect is self-respect. When you live in alignment with your values, you honor yourself. You no longer compromise your integrity for approval, convenience, or short-term gain. Every decision, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to reinforce your character and live authentically. This builds inner strength, confidence, and a sense of dignity that cannot be shaken by external circumstances or opinions. Practically, living according to your values and purpose begins with reflection. Take time to identify your core principles, what matters most to you in life. These could include honesty, kindness, courage, discipline, or growth. Then, clarify your purpose. What do you want your life to stand for? And what impact do you want to make? Once you have clarity, use these as guiding principles in daily decisions, interactions, and long-term planning. Whenever you face a difficult choice, ask yourself, does this align with my values and purpose? This simple question will keep you on track and prevent regret, confusion, and wasted energy. Living in alignment with values and purpose also brings peace of mind. You stop being pulled in multiple directions by societal pressures, comparisons, or fleeting desires. Your actions become intentional, your goals become clear, and your life becomes more focused and meaningful. Challenges become easier to navigate because you have a framework for decision making, and external chaos has less power over your inner world. By committing to live according to your values and purpose, you begin to build a life that is intentional, strong, and fulfilling. You no longer allow external circumstances or other people's opinions to define you. Instead, you define yourself through consistent, principled action that reflects your highest ideals and deepest goals. One of the most profound lessons in Stoicism is understanding that everything in life is temporary. Everything you have, experience, and even feel will eventually change. People come and go, success rises and falls, health improves and declines, and circumstances shift constantly. Most suffering in life comes from forgetting this truth. We cling to things, expecting them to last forever, and when they change or disappear, we feel pain, disappointment, or despair. Stoicism teaches that by recognizing the impermanent nature of life, we can reduce unnecessary suffering and live with greater peace, gratitude, and clarity. Think about it. How often do we get attached to things we cannot control, like relationships, material possessions, or even our status? We act as if they will last forever, investing our happiness entirely in them. But life is unpredictable, and change is inevitable. When we understand that everything is temporary, we stop clinging and start appreciating the present moment. This mindset allows us to enjoy life fully, knowing that nothing is guaranteed and every moment is precious. It also helps us let go gracefully when change occurs, without unnecessary resistance or suffering. Understanding impermanence also shifts how we deal with challenges. Pain, failure, and disappointment are all temporary states. When we face difficulty, it is easy to feel overwhelmed and hopeless. But remembering that this too shall pass allows us to endure hardship with patience and resilience. Temporary struggles become manageable because we recognize them as fleeting experiences rather than permanent conditions. Similarly, we learn not to become overly attached to success, praise, or comfort, knowing that these too are impermanent. This awareness brings balance, preventing extreme highs and lows and creating a steady, calm mind. Another benefit of embracing the temporary nature of life is that it strengthens our focus on what truly matters. When we realize that time is limited and circumstances change constantly, we are more motivated to prioritize our values, purpose, and meaningful relationships. We stop wasting energy on trivial complaints, petty conflicts, or unnecessary worries. Every decision becomes more intentional because I understand that time is our most valuable resource, and we cannot afford to spend it on things that not align with our goals or principles. Embracing impermanence also deepens gratitude. When we recognize that every person, opportunity, or moment is temporary, we begin to appreciate it more fully. Simple experiences, such as a conversation with a loved one, a meal, or a quiet morning, become treasures because we understand that they will not last forever. Gratitude naturally grows from the awareness that nothing is permanent, and this gratitude transforms our perspective on life, making us more peaceful, joyful, and content. Practically, you can begin applying this lesson by reflecting on the impermanence of life daily. Consider that every possession, relationship, and circumstance you have is not guaranteed. Ask yourself how you can appreciate it more, and what actions you can take to live fully in the present. Whenever you feel anxious about losing something or someone, remind yourself that change is natural and inevitable. This practice trains your mind to accept life as it is and reduces the fear of loss or disappointment. Understanding impermanence also improves emotional resilience. Loss, rejection, and setbacks are part of life, but when we see them as temporary, we can recover faster and with less emotional suffering. We learn to ride the waves of life rather than being swept away by them. This mindset allows us to face uncertainty with courage and stability, knowing that every difficult moment is only a fraction of our life story, and it will eventually pass. Recognizing the temporary nature of life does not make us passive or indifferent. On the contrary, it empowers us to act intentionally, live with purpose, and appreciate the present moment fully. It reduces fear, anxiety, and attachment while increasing gratitude, clarity, and resilience. One of the most important lessons of Stoicism is learning not to waste energy on complaining or blaming. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, and difficulties, and it is natural to feel frustrated or upset when things don't go our way. However, most suffering comes not from the events themselves, but from the way we react to them. Complaining and blaming others for our problems only drains our energy, clouds our judgment, and keeps us stuck in negativity. Stoicism teaches that instead of wasting time on complaints or pointing fingers, we should focus our energy on what we can do to improve the situation or grow from it. Think about it. How often have you spent hours or days complaining about a situation only to realize that nothing changed? Complaining feels like action, but it accomplishes nothing. Similarly, blaming others for our problems may give a temporary sense of relief, but it prevents us from taking responsibility for our own lives. Every time we complain or blame, we give our power away. We hand over control of our happiness, peace, and effectiveness to someone else or to circumstances. The Stoics teach that true power comes from recognizing our responsibility for our own thoughts, reactions, and choices. By focusing on solutions rather than complaints, we reclaim that power and become more capable of handling life's challenges. Complaining also reinforces negativity in our minds. The more we focus on what is wrong, unfair, or frustrating, the more our brain notices problems instead of opportunities. This creates a cycle of stress, frustration, and hopelessness. Stoicism teaches that by redirecting our attention away from complaints and toward constructive action, we train our mind to see solutions, possibilities, and lessons in every situation. This shift in perspective changes not only how we feel but also how we act, making us more productive, resilient, and confident. Blaming others is equally destructive. When we blame, we avoid responsibility for our own actions, decisions, and reactions. We convince ourselves that someone else is causing our unhappiness, anger, or frustration. This may feel justified, but it keeps us stuck in a victim mindset. Stoicism teaches that no one can control our mind except ourselves. Other people's actions, words, and choices are beyond our control, and blaming them only wastes energy that could be better spent on improving ourselves, our response, or the situation. By taking responsibility, we gain freedom, clarity, and the ability to act wisely. Practically, avoiding complaints and blame starts with awareness. Notice when you are about to complain or blame. Pause and ask yourself, will this help me solve the problem or make my life better? If the answer is no, redirect your focus toward constructive action. This could mean finding a solution, learning a lesson, adjusting your expectations, or accepting reality as it is. Over time, this practice rewires your mind, reducing automatic negativity and increasing focus on what truly matters. Learning to avoid complaints and blame also improves relationships. People are naturally drawn to those who are calm, responsible, and solution-oriented. When we stop blaming others, we communicate more clearly, act with integrity, and build trust. Our interactions become less stressful, less conflict-prone, and more productive. By modeling this behavior, we also encourage others to take responsibility and approach challenges with a positive mindset. Ultimately, not wasting energy on complaining or blaming is about taking control of your mind and life. It is about shifting focus from things outside your control to things you can influence. Complaints and blame are easy. They require little effort, but they create weakness, frustration, and stagnation. Acting responsibly, thinking clearly, and focusing on solutions requires effort, but it strengthens the mind, builds resilience, and produces meaningful results. The Stoics understood that energy is precious, and wasting it on complaints or blame only limits our potential and keeps us from living a calm, strong, and purposeful life. One of the most powerful lessons of Stoicism is learning to train your mind through small daily hardships. Life is unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable. The Stoics understood that strength is not built when everything is easy and comfortable. It is forged through facing difficulties, enduring discomfort, and practicing resilience every day. By intentionally exposing yourself to small hardships, you prepare your mind to handle bigger challenges with calmness and strength. These small, consistent exercises help you develop mental toughness, self-discipline, and a sense of inner control that cannot be shaken by external events. Think about it. How often do people avoid discomfort in every form? They seek comfort, convenience, and ease, avoiding situations that might be difficult, inconvenient, or challenging. While this may feel good in the moment, it weakens the mind and leaves them unprepared for the inevitable struggles that life throws their way. Stoicism teaches the opposite. By intentionally facing small difficulties, whether it's waking up early, enduring minor physical challenges, or practicing restraint, you strengthen your mind and character. These exercises may seem minor, but they build resilience and train you to respond to larger hardships with calm and clarity. Small daily hardships act as mental training for real life challenges. When you practice discipline in small matters, your mind becomes accustomed to discomfort without panic or fear. For example, fasting for a few hours, taking a cold shower, or completing an uncomfortable task teaches your mind that it can endure difficulty and still function effectively. This practice builds confidence because you realize that you are capable of more than you previously thought. Over time, you no longer see challenges as threats. You see them as opportunities to test your strength, adapt, and grow. These small hardships also improve self-discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement, and it is built through repeated practice. When you force yourself to do what is difficult but necessary, you develop control over your impulses, desires, and reactions. This is essential because life will constantly tempt you to take the easy path, avoid responsibility, or act impulsively. By training yourself through small hardships, you create habits of resilience and self-control that carry over into every aspect of your life. Your mind becomes sharper, your focus stronger, and your ability to act intentionally more consistent. Facing small hardships daily also teaches patience and perspective. When you encounter minor difficulties on purpose, you learn to endure them without frustration or complaint. This makes unexpected, larger problems less overwhelming because your mind has already practiced calmness under pressure. Life becomes less chaotic because you are no longer easily shaken by minor setbacks or discomfort. Instead, you respond with wisdom, clarity, strength. Additionally, small hardships cultivate gratitude. When you challenge yourself intentionally, you begin to appreciate ease, comfort, and success more deeply. You notice the difference between effort and comfort, struggle and rest, challenge and convenience. This awareness strengthens your perspective and helps you value progress, perseverance, and the rewards of consistent effort. Stoicism teaches that the mind is like a muscle that it grows stronger only when exercised. Comfort alone cannot build strength, resilience, or wisdom. By regularly facing small challenges, you train your mind to remain steady in chaos, to endure discomfort without fear, and to act with discipline and clarity. Every minor hardship becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling life's inevitable difficulties. Practically, you can start small. Wake up early, take cold showers, practice restraint in food or habits, or tackle tasks you usually avoid. The key is consistency and mindfulness. Each small challenge you embrace is a step toward mental resilience and inner strength. Over time, these daily practices compound, creating a mind that is calm in adversity, disciplined in action, and capable of navigating life's most difficult moments with confidence and clarity. One of the most important lessons in Stoicism is learning to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Life constantly presents situations that can trigger immediate emotional reactions: anger, frustration, fear, or excitement. Most people react automatically, letting their emotions dictate their words and actions. These impulsive reactions often lead to mistakes, regrets, conflicts, and unnecessary stress. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. By pausing, reflecting, and choosing our response carefully, we regain control over our mind, our actions, and our life. Think about it. How many times have you said something in anger that you later regretted? How often have you made a rash decision that created bigger problems instead of solving the initial issue? Impulsive reactions are usually driven by emotions, not reason. Stoicism teaches that emotions are natural, but letting them control us is optional. By creating a pause between stimulus and response, we give our mind the chance to act with wisdom, rather than simply reacting to the moment. This pause allows us to respond in a way that aligns with our values, goals, and long-term well-being. Responding thoughtfully begins with awareness. The first step is recognizing when an emotional reaction is rising within you. Anger, fear, irritation, or anxiety are signals that your mind is about to react impulsively. Instead of acting immediately, pause. Take a deep breath, observe the situation objectively, and ask yourself, what is the wisest way to respond? This simple practice allows you to shift from automatic reactions to intentional actions. Over time, this habit rewires your mind to handle stress, conflict, and pressure with calmness and clarity. Thoughtful responses also prevent unnecessary suffering. Impulsive reactions often escalate problems rather than solve them. A harsh word in anger can damage a relationship. A rushed decision can create financial or professional loss, and panicked actions can make a situation worse. By responding thoughtfully, you minimize harm to yourself and others. You maintain control over your actions and preserve your peace of mind. Stoicism teaches that your mind is your most valuable tool, and responding wisely protects it from chaos, regret, and unnecessary emotional turmoil. Practically, responding thoughtfully involves separating the situation from your emotions. You do not ignore your feelings, but you observe them without immediately acting on them. You evaluate the facts, consider possible outcomes, and choose the course of action that aligns with your principles and purpose. This approach transforms challenges into opportunities for growth, as every difficult interaction becomes a chance to practice patience, wisdom, and self-control. Responding thoughtfully also improves relationships. People respect and trust those who remain calm under pressure, and who communicate with clarity and intention. When you respond rather than react, you reduce conflicts, misunderstandings, and unnecessary tension. You become someone who can handle criticism, disagreement, or provocation without losing composure, which builds credibility and strengthens your personal and professional connections. Another key benefit is long-term clarity and effectiveness. Impulsive reactions often create problems that must be fixed later, wasting energy, time, and focus. Thoughtful responses, on the other hand, lead to better decisions, improved outcomes, and a stronger sense of control over your life. By consistently practicing this habit, you train your mind to think strategically, act intentionally, and handle life's challenges with a sense of calm confidence. Stoicism teaches that the greatest power we have is over our own mind. External events are beyond our control, but how we respond to them defines our character, our peace, and our success. Responding thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively is a skill that transforms chaos into order, stress into calm, and conflict into opportunity. It allows us to navigate life intentionally, maintaining our principles, achieving our goals, and preserving our inner peace. One of the most powerful lessons of Stoicism is learning to build resilience by embracing discomfort. Life is full of challenges, unexpected difficulties, and moments that push us out of our comfort zone. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, seeking only ease and convenience, and trying to eliminate any form of struggle. While this may feel comfortable in the short term, it leaves the mind weak and unprepared for the inevitable hardships that life will bring. Stoicism teaches that true strength and resilience are developed by intentionally facing discomfort and learning to endure it. By embracing difficult situations rather than avoiding them, we strengthen our mind, sharpen our character, and become capable of handling life with calm and confidence. Think about it. How often do people complain when life feels hard, when situations are challenging, or when they feel stressed or inconvenienced? This constant avoidance of discomfort creates dependency on external comfort, and it prevents growth. The Stoics understood that adversity is not a punishment, it is an opportunity. Every difficult situation, every struggle, and every moment of discomfort can teach us something valuable if we approach it with the right mindset. By choosing to face challenges rather than avoid them, we develop patience, courage, and mental toughness. These qualities are essential for navigating the ups and downs of life without being overwhelmed or defeated. Embracing discomfort helps us grow stronger in small, manageable ways every day. Small challenges like waking up early, taking cold showers, pushing through a difficult task, or facing a personal fear act as mental exercises. They condition the mind to endure difficulty without panic or complaint. Over time, these small daily practices build a strong foundation, allowing us to face bigger challenges with composure and clarity. The more we practice enduring minor discomfort, the more resilient we become, and the less power external events have over our emotions and decisions. Resilience through discomfort also transforms our perception of life. When we embrace difficulty intentionally, we stop seeing challenges as threats. We start to view them as opportunities for learning and growth. Hardships no longer feel overwhelming or unfair because we have trained our minds to handle them. This mindset allows us to approach life proactively rather than reactively. Instead of running from struggle, we face it head-on, confident that we can endure and grow from the experience. Another benefit of embracing discomfort is that it develops patience and emotional stability. Life rarely unfolds exactly as we want, and situations will constantly test our patience and self-control. By intentionally experiencing discomfort, we learn to remain calm, composed, and steady even in difficult circumstances. This reduces stress, improves decision-making, and strengthens our relationships because we respond thoughtfully, rather than reacting impulsively. Practical ways to build resilience through discomfort include small daily challenges that push your limits. This could be physical challenges, such as exercising or fasting, or mental challenges, such as confronting fears, completing difficult tasks, or practicing restraint in habits and desires. The key is consistency and mindful engagement. Each time you face discomfort intentionally, you train your mind to endure, adapt, and overcome. Over time, your capacity to handle stress, uncertainty, and adversity grows significantly. Embracing discomfort also fosters gratitude and perspective. When we face challenges and endure them, we appreciate comfort, ease, and success more deeply. We understand the value of effort, perseverance, and resilience. Life becomes richer, more meaningful, and full of lessons that only struggle can teach. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about transforming it into strength, wisdom, and personal growth. The Stoics knew that life would never be easy, and true freedom comes from preparing the mind to endure discomfort with courage and clarity. By embracing challenges and discomfort rather than running from them, we develop resilience, inner strength, and the ability to face life's hardships with confidence and calm.